Hey y'all, we are back with another reaction on the Charlie Adelson trial day three, Dan Markel murder. I'm gonna tune y'all in with the trial, and what we're gonna do is discuss it, talk about it, and react to it afterwards. Okay.
To address this morning.
Stop messing up. Hope everybody taking notes.
Everyone can be seated. Good morning, members of the jury. I hope you had a restful weekend. We are going to pick back up where we left off on Friday with the examination of Mr. Rivera. Mr. Rauschbaum, you may cross examine when you're ready.
Thank you, Your Honor. Morning.
Morning.
Before we get into your testimony, I want to clarify one thing. You didn't extort Charlie Adelson, right?
No.
One moment. Veronica, are you having problems still hearing? All right. If you can assist him, Mr. Rivera, make sure you speak as loudly as you can,
right.
sir.
Thank you.
And the answer to that question was no, right?
No.
You were paid $37,000 in your role in the murder of Professor Markel, right?
Yes.
You were supposed to be paid $35,000.
Yes.
Sigfredo Garcia, the shooter, gave you an extra $2,000, right?
Yes.
Your understanding was that the total payment was $100,000, correct?
Yes.
And that it was a one-time payment.
Yes, sir.
And you were told that you, Sigfredo, and Katie were hired by a lady to do a murder for hire, right?
No. If I was told by the lady,
No, I'm sorry. Let me slow down. You were told by Sigfredo that all of you were hired by a lady to do the murder, right?
yeah.
That you were doing it so that she could get her kids back.
Yes, sir.
And all of your information came from Sigfredo Garcia and Katie, correct?
Sigfredo, yes, sir.
Okay. And all of Sigfredo's information, to your knowledge, came from Katie, right?
Yes, sir.
Everything you knew about the murder plot came from Sigfredo.
Yes, sir.
According to you, Katie was the mastermind.
Yes, sir.
She was the one, as you've said, running the shots.
Yes, sir.
Anything that Sigfredo or you did in connection with the murder had to be cleared through Katie, correct?
Yes, sir.
And Sigfredo and Katie lied to you about a lot of things about this murder, right?
That about what?
Well, let's go through it. For starters, during the first trip in early June, Sigfredo told you that you were going to do a robbery, right?
Yes, sir.
Not until on the way up did you find out that you were going to do a murder.
Yes, sir.
Before the July trip, you didn't want to go, right?
Yes, sir.
And to convince you, Sigfredo again told you that you were just going there to scope things out.
Yes, sir.
During the second trip, the day before the murder, you drove by Professor Markel's house. Do you recall that?
Yes, sir.
And you testified that at some point after you arrived at Markel's house, after noon on the 17th, you saw a woman and two kids walking on Trescott by the house,
Yes,
right?
sir.
And the woman looked at you as the Prius passed and immediately got on her phone.
Yes, sir.
You testified that you asked Sigfredo what was up with the lady. Do you recall that?
Yes, sir.
And Sigfredo responded that that's her. That's the guy's wife. That's the one that wants the kids back.
Yes, sir.
You asked Sigfredo what the lady was doing there on Trescott with the kids.
Yes, sir.
And Sigfredo responded that she came there to make sure that everything was all right,
Absolutely.
meaning all right with the plan.
Yes, sir.
As you sit here now, you're aware that the woman and the kids on the street was not the same lady, right?
I don't know if that was her or not, but she looked at my car.
It's possible that Sigfredo lied to you, right?
Who knows?
Another lie that Sigfredo and strike that, Your Honor. Your understanding is that the money for the murder would be paid by the lady, right?
Yes, sir.
Again, your understanding came from Sigfredo.
Yes, sir.
You didn't go with Katie to get the money, right?
No.
So you don't know where she got it from,
Nope.
and you don't know what happened when she got it.
Nope.
Sigfredo never told you that he and Katie got more than $100,000 the night of the murder, did he?
Nope.
That would make sense why you got an extra $2,000, right?
Maybe.
And Katie never told you that they got more than $100,000 the night of the murder, right?
Nope.
Sigfredo never told you that he and Katie were getting paid every month after the murder, right?
Never knew nothing about that.
You didn't know that they were getting paid $3,000 a month.
No.
You didn't know that they were getting paid $1,000 in Adelson Institute checks, did you?
Nope.
But you saw that Sigfredo was spending a lot of money, right?
Yes.
You saw that Sigfredo even told you that he had paid for Katie's breast augmentation surgery, right? Her breast surgery.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. If he told me about that,
Yeah.
Yeah.
He told you he paid for it, right?
that's what he said.
You didn't know that Katie was getting money from Charlie Adelson every month in an extortion plot, did you?
No.
In May of 2015, you get arrested on a federal RICO case, right?
Yes, sir.
And you were detained.
Yes, sir.
And you wanted to get out of prison, right? You wanted to get a bail.
Yeah.
You started thinking about the fact that Katie and Sigfredo seem to be spending a lot of money, right?
No.
So let's briefly recap all the lies that they told you. Not that you made, but that they told you. They lied to you about the purpose of the trip going to Tallahassee, right?
Yeah.
They lied to you about who the lady was on the street.
Yeah.
They lied to you about the amount of money they received.
Yeah.
They lied to you about getting money every month.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't it possible that they lied to you about the purpose of the job to begin with?
They don't even got the money. Where they gonna get the money from?
Isn't it possible that you thought it was a murder for hire, but it was really an extortion?
Extortion to who?
Charlie Adelson, not from you, but from them.
Okay.
Isn't it possible?
I don't know.
By the way, on Friday, you testified that you just wanted to rob the lady, right?
Yes, sir.
But Sigfredo was adamant. We can't rob the lady. We got to do the murder.
Yes, sir.
Isn't that because he wanted to keep on getting money every month?
I don't know.
But you would have just robbed him, right?
Yep.
Would have been a lot easier, right?
Real quick.
Would have been a one-time payment, right?
That's it.
Couldn't have gotten paid over time, though, right?
I don't know.
Well, if you rob someone, it's hard to keep robbing them over and over and over again.
Absolutely, of course.
All right, so I want to back up a little bit, and I thank you for your honesty there. You've never met Charlie Adelson, correct?
Nope.
You've never seen him before this case.
Nope.
You've never spoken to him by phone,
Never.
and you've never communicated with him in any way.
Never.
You've never met Donna or Harvey Adelson.
Nobody.
You never spoken to them by phone.
I didn't meet nobody.
And the same goes with Wendy Adelson, correct?
Nobody.
You know Sigfredo your whole life.
Yes, sir.
You're like brothers.
Yes, sir.
You've known Katie since she and Sigfredo started dating when they were teenagers.
Yes, sir.
You consider them to be married.
Yes, sir.
Sigfredo was deeply in love with Katie, right?
Absolutely.
He would do, as you've said, anything for her, right?
Anything.
He was, as you said, blind over her, right?
Yes, sir.
Katie treated him badly.
Yes.
She messed up his head, as you've said, right?
Yes, sir.
At some point, you learned from Sigfredo that Katie was having a relationship with someone she worked with, right?
Yes, sir.
Sigfredo told you that Katie was cheating on him with someone called the dentist.
Yes, sir.
According to what Sigfredo told you, Katie was sleeping with the dentist at the same time she was sleeping with Sigfredo, right?
Yes, sir.
So Sigfredo knew that Katie was cheating on him,
Yes, sir.
and he wasn't too happy about it, right?
Nope.
Sigfredo told you that the dentist had money. Let me rephrase. Sigfredo told you that Katie told him the person she was with was rich.
No.
Well, he told you that Katie would flaunt and show off to Sigfredo that the person she was dating with had money, right?
I don't think so.
Sigfredo was devastated when he learned about Katie's new relationship.
Yeah, anybody will, right?
I agree. Sigfredo started drinking too much.
Every day.
He started doing drugs.
Yes, sir.
He was acting crazy and unstable.
Yes, sir.
He couldn't keep a job. In fact, tried to fire him from a job, help get him fired from a job, right?
Yes, sir.
Because he was drinking even while at work.
Yes, sir.
And he was fighting a lot.
Yes, sir.
Katie told Sigfredo that she would only take him back if he did this job for her, right?
Yeah.
Now, before Sigfredo was fired from his job, I want to take you to March 14th of 2014. Okay? I'll refresh your memory about it.
Let's
Okay.
go.
There was a day when you were driving home from work and Sigfredo was driving you and he took a detour to a restaurant on Miami Beach. Do you remember that?
Yes, sir.
And you and Sigfredo were in Sigfredo's truck, a Dodge Ram.
Yes.
Sigfredo had been drinking
Every day.
and you were supposed to be headed home, but Sigfredo drove you to the restaurant.
Yes, sir.
You parked near the restaurant and you could see people sitting at tables eating outside. Do you recall that?
Yes, sir.
And one of those people eating at the restaurant was Katie.
Yes, sir.
She was with 3 other people.
I don't remember. I
Do you remember they were all white?
don't remember.
Okay. Sigfredo pointed Katie out to you and said that one of the people there was the dentist. Do you
Yes,
recall
sir.
that? And while you were sitting in Sigfredo's truck watching Katie and the dentist, Sigfredo told you he was going to run him over when they got up, right?
Yes, sir.
And what did you tell him in response?
I ain't gonna do it. I'm gonna get off the truck.
But he was serious.
Yes, sir.
That's what he was like, right? He was angry.
He was a good man. But anybody get angry if your wife is doing another man?
He was angry. He wanted to hurt the dentist, right?
Yeah.
Are you aware that he actually did try to run him off the road a couple months later in July 1st, 2014? Did he ever tell you about that incident with a jet ski?
No.
Can I have one moment, Your Honor? Now, let me take you a little bit back to the first trip, okay? First trip to Tallahassee. Sigfredo came to your house and said he had a job in Tallahassee and asked you to go with him, right?
Yeah. Yes.
He told you that if you took a ride with him, that he would give you around $35,000, right?
I don't remember.
He didn't initially tell you what the job was, right?
Nope.
He rented the car and he picked you up, right?
Yes, sir.
At some point during the trip, he told you that it was not going to be for a robbery, but for a murder, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But the second time, Fredo told you that you had to rent the car under your name.
Yes, sir.
Did he tell you what type of? The cash he gave you was in a crumpled bunch, right?
Shit, I don't remember though.
But let me ask you this way: the cash he gave you to rent the car, it wasn't stapled.
Nah, I don't think so.
Now, you rent the car and you head up to Tallahassee, right?
Yeah.
And you arrive at around 1 a.m. on Thursday, July 17th, right?
I don't remember the time, but
Early morning.
I don't remember.
Okay.
We got there.
Gotcha. You testified earlier that you didn't want to kill Markel during the first trip because he had his kids, right?
Yes, sir.
And you told Sigfredo that during the first trip. But
Yeah,
you didn't want to do it in front of the kids.
I believe so.
And we already talked a couple times about seeing the woman on the street during the second trip, correct?
Yes, sir.
Mm.
Now, on July 18th, the day of the murder, you saw Professor Markel with his kids.
Yes, sir.
Again, you followed them to the daycare to make sure they were dropped off.
Yes, sir.
And then you went to the gym,
Yes.
and then you followed him back to his house where he was murdered, right?
Yes, sir.
And Sigfredo was the shooter.
Yes, sir.
He wanted you to be the shooter, but you didn't want to do it.
Yes, sir.
You testified that when you and Sigfredo were on your way back to Miami, Sigfredo called Katie.
Yes, sir.
Has call records, which put that call at 12:30 p.m.
I don't know the time.
Will you take my word that the call records for purposes of these questions show that that call happened at 12:30?
If you say so.
The call wasn't on speakerphone, right?
No.
And you were driving on the highway at the time, right?
Yes, sir.
With the window cracked open a bit.
I don't remember.
Fair enough. But it's your testimony that you were able to hear some of the conversation, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you think you heard Sigfredo tell Katie, it's done, right?
I heard.
You heard Sigfredo tell Katie, it's done.
Yes. He's sitting
And
next
you-
to me.
And what's that?
He's sitting right next to me.
Understand. And you think you heard Katie respond, I know.
I think I heard her.
Okay. When you were interviewed by law enforcement, you were interviewed by law enforcement in September of 2016, right?
Yes, sir.
That was 2 years after the murder.
Yes, sir.
We're now 8 years after the murder, right?
Yes.
Your memory might have been a little bit better then. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
And during that interview, you told law enforcement that you didn't hear the I know comment. Do you recall that?
No.
Nonetheless, in order for Katie to know, she would have had to be told by someone before 12:30 p.m., correct?
Yeah.
After Sigfredo hung up with Katie, he told you that you would get your money tomorrow, right?
Yes, sir.
And you were upset about that.
Yes.
You were upset because you didn't understand why the money wasn't already secured.
Absolutely.
Because when you do a murder for hire, you get paid up front.
Yes, sir.
You don't get paid over time.
Yep.
You don't get paid after the fact.
Yep.
The whole point of a murder for hire is you get paid, you do a killing, and then you separate.
Yes.
That's the reason for that type of crime, right?
I guess.
And in fact, you told Sigfredo that since the job was finished, you were supposed to be paid right there and then.
Yes,
Isn't that
sir.
what you told him?
Yes, sir.
Now let's talk a little bit about the payment. You got paid the next day, right?
Yep.
And Katie dropped off the money, right?
Yes, sir.
It was stapled.
Yes, sir.
And that's the first time you'd ever seen stapled money, right?
Yes.
You had never, on any of these other trips, you had never seen stapled money.
What other trips?
Well, the first trip to Tallahassee, the second trip to Tallahassee,
Yeah.
ever in your
Okay.
life.
Yeah, that's the first time I've ever seen staple money.
Sigfredo gave you an extra $2,000, right?
Yes, sir.
Ouch.
Throughout the years after Katie and Sigfredo got back together, right?
Yeah, I was in prison already.
But you saw that they had moved to a new apartment,
Yeah.
that they had bought a new large TV.
TV.
They bought a nice TV, right? After the
No,
murder.
I was in prison.
What about before you went to prison? Did you see they bought a new large TV?
I mean, they had nice stuff.
They started to get some nice stuff, right?
Yeah.
Started to spend some money, right?
Yeah.
One last area of questions, I believe, and it'll be quick. In 2014 and 2015, during the time of these events, you were a member of the Latin Kings, right?
Yeah.
And that's a crime family, right?
The family, yeah.
Commits crimes, right?
I mean, every gang does.
It's a gang.
I guess that's what you want to call it. I call it a family.
In fact, you were the head of the North Miami branch of the Latin Kings, right?
Yeah.
May I have one moment, Your Honor?
Examination.
Characterized a lot of things that Garcia told you as lies. Do you know that those things were lies?
No.
So when he said, "Oh, that's the lady, she's looking at us," do you know if he really thought it was the lady or not?
No, it was the lady.
He thought it was the lady,
It
right?
was the lady.
Okay.
It was like,
All right. And how long after the murder did Garcia seem to have a lot of money? Like for years after the murder, for weeks after the murder?
probably weeks, months.
Okay, so weeks or months he was spending money like crazy, right?
Yeah.
But after that, he was broke again.
Yeah.
When you were in the car with Garcia at the restaurant where he was talking about running the dentist over,
Yes, ma'am.
was he, what was he acting like?
I mean, he's himself. You can never tell. But
Mm-hmm.
he drinks a lot. He does a lot of coke. But he was frustrated.
Okay, so he was jealous,
Absolutely.
angry,
Yeah.
pissed off,
hmm
drunk,
Every day.
okay, and heartbroken, right?
Yes.
All right, what about on the trips to Tallahassee? Was he Was he like that on those trips?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so during the trips to Tallahassee, was he talking about the dentist?
No, we barely spoke.
All right, so when y'all were sitting out in front of the restaurant, he was talking about the dentist, right? At that time.
Yeah.
And specifically mentioning how Katie was dating the dentist and that was upsetting him.
That's all he said. He didn't mention him too much. He's like, that's the dude she's cheating on me with.
All right. And what about on the trips to Tallahassee? Was he going on about that on the trips to Tallahassee? No. Did he mention on the trips to Tallahassee, like, this has something to do with the dentist, or we got to kill this guy because I'm trying to harm the dentist?
No. To harm him, he never said nothing about him.
Right. One moment, please, Your Honor. Did this murder have anything to do with the Latin Kings?
No, absolutely not.
Were you asked to threaten anybody related to this murder? I mean, were you ever asked to threaten the dentist because you're a Latin King and he might be afraid of you?
No, I don't even know these people, man. The Latin Kings ain't got nothing to do with this.
No further
Promise you that.
Let this be recalled by
Potentially, Your Honor.
Mr. Rivera. You may step down from there.
I don't upset, buddy.
Witness.
St. Paul's KATHERINE.
We're gonna stop this section. This was Louis. Let me tell you a little bit about him. He straightened them out about that Latin King. They ain't got nothing to do with this. Let me tell you what's going on right here. That was Louis Rivera. Okay, he took the stand. Okay, let me tell you a little bit about him. It was really like a murder for hire. Okay. Louis Rivera, he pleaded guilty in 2016 to second-degree murder. And he took the stand today. So they was finishing out for Friday. Rivera pleaded guilty in exchange for a 19-year sentence to run concurrently with a federal sentence on an unrelated case for his statement and cooperation with the prosecutors. Wow. In 2019, he testified that he was with Sigfredo Garcia when Markel was murdered. Adelson is accused of orchestrating the murder and paying two Miami men, Louis Rivera and Latin Kings gang leader, his close friend Sigfredo Garcia, to carry out the hit. Rivera, Garcia, and Adelson, former girlfriend KATHERINE, MAGBANUA, the other Garcia children, have already been convicted in the murder. Wow, man. Ooh, okay, y'all. So it's a plot. Y'all like, share, and subscribe, and we'll catch up with the next half later on. Okay, I'm out. Thank you, StreamYard. Hold on for a minute. Let me hide that.